with Stitches Quilting, and I am here live in Hawaii and on the big island of Hawaii, and I am with Val Brewer, and we are actually in her home, and she is a quilter that does pet portraits. So does anybody ever wanted to make a pet portrait? She has also got the most adorable basset hounds. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful, and so you might hear them hounding in the back because they're just excited because we are, right, Val?
Right. Also, they bark all the time.
Yes, they do. They do. So who has animals here? What kind of animal do you have? And tell us their name and join in and let us know. So I have got two little puppies that are Cavalier Spaniels, and I've always wanted to make a pet portrait of a quilt. And Val actually does those. You can commission her to do them, but she is actually going to teach us her method of making a pet portrait and how she does that, and different styles of different pet portraits and things like that. She actually has taught some classes here on the island, but and she is going to be a quilting on the beach instructor, which instructors for quilting on the beach in February that will be held in Kona, Hawaii, and we are really excited about that, and I can't wait to tell you what I'll be teaching about. It's going to be a lot of fun. But this is one of her pet portrait quilts. So Val, will you tell us about this quilt? And these are all animals that are special to you. And go ahead and tell us about that.
Okay, this is my son when he was about 1.5 years, and he used to always lay on top of our Scottish Terrier Tosh. We had a house in Narragansett, Rhode Island, and so here they are on the porch at our house with the sailboat in Narragansett, Rhode Island. After Tosh passed away, we got a cat. This is the cat Lynx, and on his shoulder is our nightingale Florence. We had two nightingales, Florence Nightingale and Clara Barton, and this is Florence. At the same time that we had the cat, we had a large iguana by the name of Whippersnapper, because he tended to whip his tail into people. And then when we moved to Hawaii, we were not able to bring Florence and Whip and found them other homes because...
And why weren't you able to bring them?
We have very strict quarantine laws here, and species that are not already in Hawaii are not allowed to come to Hawaii. And there are no nightingales or iguanas legally in Hawaii, although I'm told that there are some iguanas illegally up in the hills.
Interesting. Interesting.
Okay, and then after our cat passed away, we were going to get another Scottish Terrier, but they're very rare here. Oh. And so we looked for animals that would get along with a cat. And on the internet, they said basset hounds, and so that's what started us in basset hounds. And these were our first two basset hounds, Bo and Harley.
And Corey, can you come in close here and show how she's done like the names right underneath? And Harley and Bo. Isn't that so fun? And another thing that you do, Val, is you will use a lot of upholstery fabric to give it more texture. And
I love upholstery fabric because of all the patterns, and I try to use the designs and the lines already in the upholstery fabric to make part of the design of the... and you see, it's interesting, this particular fabric is in each of these four
really?
different.
So
here it's the stripes on our tabby cat.
Okay.
And here it's my son's hair.
Oh.
And here it's the branch beneath Whip.
Wow.
And here it's the basset ears.
Yes. Well, what a neat thing.
So
wow.
Did you name Harley because he's the same color as like Harley Davidson's colors? The tan and the black?
They were both rescue hounds, and they were already named when we got them.
Okay.
So I honestly don't know how they got the names.
And ladies, please remember Corey is filming, and he's also going to let us know. If you have questions, to please let us know what your questions are and things like that. And Corey, I want to know what the name of some of their pets are and stuff, if you get some comments. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, well, let's come on in here, and we're going to show you another quilt that's in her studio. So let's come on this way, and I'll sit over here. And then, so Corey, I want you to, let's focus in on some of these animals here. But you can see here, Val has made the Scottish Terrier again with the two birds. So you can see and envision this. This is a memory quilt for her, which I'd love to just do a segment on the memory quilt. But I mean, that's just
Ashley Olana says I have two dogs there, Coda and Ori.
Oh, Ashley, you're awesome. Ashley's up in Alaska. How fun. Here is the cat right here. Ashley, have you made a pet quilt yet? I have not. So I am dying to do this. But look at the cat and how she's accented it with some beads there.
Molly from Linda. She's a dog named Molly.
Oh,
She's a
cute.
Wheaten Terrier.
Oh, cute. And then here we have the Basset Hounds again.
Yep.
And I love the accent of how you've done with these crystals. And then right here we have the iguana again. And then in this memory quilt, I'll just scan you down here because we want to get to the learning part. But look at how she's incorporated this. This is what she does when her husband watches Monday Night Football. And then she is with the animals on her bed reading a book. And she's incorporated them. Where's the one where you guys were on the beach? Oh, right up here. Oh, tell us this story right here.
Oh, we used to go summers down to Narragansett, Rhode Island, where all of us would go kayaking, the family, my 2 kids and my husband and me. This is our iguana Whip and our Scottish Terrier Tosh watching us from the shore.
So isn't that just so sweet? And these are different memories that she has. So she's definitely incorporated the animals in different segments of these quilts, and it's just so sweet.
Oh, and
Dee
there's
Dwyer has 2 dogs named Heidi and Tinka.
Oh, you do, Dee Dee. You have 2 puppies, Heidi and Tinka. I love it. What were you going to say about? I'm sorry.
Here's our chicken, Harriet. That,
Oh.
we had a wild chicken that came to our yard for quite a while until she moved on
So-
in our current house.
Yeah, and on this one, she did the 4 different homes that their family lived in. So this is what their last home in the big island of Hawaii
That's where we
is
live
like.
now.
And this is the one that was in
On
Oahu.
And those 2 were in Rhode Island.
Yeah, so this memory quilt is amazing, you guys. I mean, this is a whole nother segment. But I'll be teaching at Quilting on the Beach, so we'll be back in February, and we'll just have to do more videos, right? Okay, so
good.
let's go ahead and go into Val's dining room, and she's gonna take us through some of the photos and the things that she's done she has taught people how to make a pet portrait. So let's go ahead and go on in there. Come on, ladies. Come on, gals. Let's go on in here. Okay. So, Corey, and let's see here. Should we turn on the light, do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Maybe there'll be a
Sounds good.
glare?
Hang on.
I'm not sure. Okay, so right over here is a quilt of Hawaii that she has made, and you can see how beautiful it is. Right here is the volcano that is going off, and this is where it used to be. The spill for the volcano goes over this way, is where the volcano spill goes. And we are right over here, right, Val?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where we are.
I'm afraid the light is not coming
Okay,
on.
don't worry about it. We'll be just fine. Ladies, let us know that you can see everything. And when she does a class, she actually gives out this handout of instruction. But we're going to show you some of these things on here. So Val, you on here, can you see this without a glare, ladies? Does it look good? Okay. So Val, go ahead and tell us some of this.
Okay, well, there are a number of different ways that you can make quilted pet portraits. Some of these are images taken from the internet. Some are simply silhouettes and are rather stylized.
Okay.
Other people, I'm going to go right through. Other people do heightened caricatures, very simple caricatures. This woman's amazing. Her name is Cynthia England. And she takes a photograph and breaks it down into very small shapes of light and dark, and then pieces them all. It's called picture piecing, I believe, and makes phenomenally complex quilts. This is more like what I do, but not entirely, which is simplifying shapes as much as you can into a kind of caricature. This is the most common way that you'll see pet portrait tutorials online, which is that you take a photograph of an animal and you, make it into darks, mediums. 3 tones through Photoshop, maybe?
Yes, through Photoshop.
Yeah,
or another software.
and then you make a pattern and cut out the darks and the mediums and the lights, and then fuse them on top of one another to get a picture that looks kind of photoshopped and very realistic. None of these are the techniques that I do, actually. Oh, and here's yet another technique, which is to take a photograph of your dog and print it on fabric, and that's a real easy way to make a pet portrait.
Absolutely.
What I do, let me see, as we come along here. Whoa, let's go back to the
should
beginning.
we show the one that you, that was kind
Here.
of the sample?
Okay, this is the sample that I did. My goal is to simplify the picture of the animal into shapes, simple shapes, not very complicated, and then to kind of characterize the expression on the animal so that you capture its spirit. And kind of an impression of the animal rather than a realistic image. That's what I like to do.
Absolutely.
And you probably saw that in the photographs that you saw a minute ago.
Okay, so and you did this one for your brother, correct?
I did. This is my brother's cat, Daisy. I was going to teach this course, and so I asked him if he had any friends who needed a pet portraiter himself, and so he sent me a couple of pictures of Daisy, and he donated this to the Collier County Cat Rescue Organization for a raffle.
That is so fun. So he sent you 3 pictures, correct?
That's what I asked
Okay, so
for.
let's get to these 3 pictures.
Okay, when I'm doing a pet portrait, I ask that people send me 3 photographs in color. I ask for more than one because you need to see the markings all around the animal. And also you get a better sense of the animal's expressions if you have more than one. If you just have one photo, you may not really capture the animal that well. Yeah. So this is one of Daisy.
Okay, yes.
And then
I love this one because you really featured this one.
I like that one
as part
a lot,
of the quilt, and I like it because it's got some movement and some action there, and emotion. I mean, she just looks very comfortable and snuggly. So I love how you chose this one. I really do. I really do. But this was one that he sent you. And then he sent you this one. There's right here, which we could see that without all of the other stuff on the iPad, which is a beautiful photograph. But you were also saying that you like 3 photographs so you can get the markings, right?
Yes,
too.
Absolutely. And if I'm doing a photograph for someone, we're in constant email touch back and forth, and I may ask them again, gee, what does the dog's back look like, or what does the cat's back look like? I can't quite tell.
Yes, yeah, no, definitely.
And there she is again.
And that was the 3rd photo. So those were the 3 photos you had to work with.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and share one other thing here. Let's go to Safari because Val actually has a website, and I'd like to share this with you. We will put her website. Maybe one of you guys could type it as a comment right now, but it's VLBZWick.com is the name of her website. And on here, you can see all the different pet portraits. Are we on Pet Portraits?
Yes.
Yes, we are on Pet Portraits. And these are all the different pet portraits that she has been commissioned or has done different ones for different people. And each one of these has a story behind it. So, for example, if we click on the parrot, sometimes you have the photographs underneath.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one has the photos underneath.
Okay.
There we go. So you can see the reference photos, and I can combine more than one animal. I don't have reference photos under all of them because I only started doing that later in the pet portraits. And also people can send me either hard copies that I'll return to them, or they can email me photos.
Okay.
And if they email me photos, I'm apt to put them on the website. And if they sent me hard copies, I started sending them back before I was smart enough to make copies for myself.
Yes, and to scan them in.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys that Val does have a website, and you can learn more about Val on that. And I will go ahead and summarize all of this. Not everything, but I'll summarize a good bit about Val and what she does, and link to her from my website too. And we'll link to it, in the different social media posts too. So let's go ahead and go back to the photos though, and let's look at more of your process. So she's got this lovely book, but I was afraid you guys might not be able to see the photographs. And boy, she does instruction, this is what she offers to those that sign up for her class. But let's see, let's go through your book. What process would be the next good photograph to share in your process?
I think
the different fabrics. Okay, so how about if we use this?
Okay. So the first thing you probably need to do is pick out a bunch of fabrics that you'd like. I like fabrics with texture and swirls, and when I make a pet portrait, I always send a copy of all of the fabrics to the people.
You do, and
I do.
do you have them approve the fabrics first, or?
I
No,
never have.
Oh, you okay? No, you should. You
No,
should.
afterwards.
But afterwards, you give them
Yeah.
a sample of their fabrics. Okay, so you can see she's working with some suede right here. She's working with some different cottons. She's working with another. Yeah, they're more suedes, and then this is a really neat textured print that is also a home deck print. So depending on what you want to do, you can use any kind of fabrics, right? Okay, so then your next thing here is you go ahead and explain those. Because
Okay.
I think this is the biggest pain point right here for people. So
Okay.
I'm actually gonna come back and she's gonna help me do my two dogs, Lady and Diego, that are Cavaliers. And we're gonna go through this process right here.
So the first thing to do is to make a sketch of your animal. You can do that a bunch of ways. You can either project your picture on a screen and trace it, but I don't usually do that. I just look at it, or you can cut it out. If you have a picture this size, cut it out, set it down, and trace the outline.
Okay.
And then after that, look at it and figure out like where you put the chin and where the arms are, and just basically put in the major shapes.
Okay. And you're doing this all on newsprint.
On newsprint, yeah.
Okay.
And at my classes, I give everybody a big piece of newsprint. You can get it at Office Depot stores.
Okay. All right. And so you can see how she's taken the shape of the first photo with the kitty laying down. What is the name of the kitty again?
Daisy. That's
Daisy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so here's Daisy, and this is the picture of her laying down, and that's what she decided to do your focal point on. Okay, so let's see what's next in your book. Oh, the background. Okay, so then,
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically what I've been doing lately, I wasn't doing when I did this workshop, but is just get a piece of any kind of fabric that's bigger than your figure, and then put your pattern down on it. No, hang on. That's an interesting photo. I'm not sure what that is. Let's
okay,
get that one.
that's not a problem.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
But you
what
have your
I'd su-
background.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have that
I
picture.
don't have this picture, so I'm
Yes.
going to pull it out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so take your pattern and then cut out what's going to be your animal. Here's a piece of upholstery fabric, and just cut out the outside shape.
So it's like a silhouette
Yeah.
of your sketch.
Okay, and then put that on a piece of fabric and sew it down around the edges. So you'll start out with that. Okay?
All right.
Okay, so then the next thing you're
Okay.
going to do after that,
And we might have that photo right here. So that one.
okay, is start looking at, I'm going to just go back a minute to wherever, whoops, here she is. No. Can you get me the picture of Daisy
Yes,
herself?
absolutely.
Thank you. I'm
We
very
put
bad
these
with the
on
computer.
here. There we go.
Okay, now look at this and think light, medium, and dark. And look, here's some dark, and here's some dark here. Here's a very dark here, and a piece there. And cut out pieces of fabric that look like those. And now we can go back to that piece that you had a minute
Although
ago.
Val,
Yeah.
you know, when we were playing around while we were getting ready,
Yeah.
there is this one thing that we can do on your iPad or anything like that, is you can take this to the black and white tonal part of it.
Yes.
And actually put it to its darkest value. In case you don't have Photoshop, put it to its absolute darkest value to get those dark values. And then put it to its absolute lightest value to have those whites pop out, where you can see the whites and things like that. So that was something we were kind of playing around with. We want to discard these changes. There we go. So we're back to our original photo.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
Yes.
I don't do that. I'm
Yes, yes.
a little more broad stroke, but
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so then...
Do we go back to this fabric right here? That
Yes.
picture? Okay. So right over here.
Okay, so see, these are some of the fabrics we picked out, and they show the textures, and just cut out the shapes that you saw and pin them on. And the same thing, there was the kind of brown, and then Daisy had some kind of gray next, and then the beige stomach. So you cut out the pieces and pin them all on.
Okay.
Now some people will use fabric adhesive and adhere them on. I hate that stuff because it always clogs up my needles.
Yes.
But some people do like it, and
Yes.
you can do that too.
Yes. So then after you do this, you actually go and just straight stitch around this.
That's what I do next, is I straight stitch right around the edge of all these pieces just to hold it down.
Okay.
We're going to be satin stitching over the top of it, so it's really just to hold it down instead of glue.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay,
So here's where you.
Here's where we've stitched them all down, although we skipped the face. I do the face last, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yes. It's beautiful.
Okay, and then when it's done, when you have that done, then you satin stitch over all of the straight stitching to finish the edges.
Okay. All right.
Now,
But let's get to your face
the
creation,
face.
which is important. So let's go ahead and I'm sorry, I should have just pulled that down.
There we are.
Here's the first one.
Okay, so looking at Daisy's face, can we pull up Daisy's face
Yes.
next to
Yes. Oh yeah.
next to it? Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at her face, she's got stripes around the edges, right? So I had the striped fabric. So here's her face, the round. So I put the striped fabric, and then it's kind of gray inside the striped fabric.
Yes.
So I put this kind of gray feltish material here, but she has a whitish lower part of her chin. So I put a half circle of kind of white with gray mimicking her face. That was a nice fabric that I found.
Yes.
And then she's got these cheeks. So you cut a couple of cheeks, put them over the top.
Very good.
Okay. Now she's got
Sorry, guys.
these little round stripy cheeks there. So I cut some more striped material. And then her nose is on top of that is like a little, what is that called? A cylindrical shape.
Yes.
Put that on. And a little pink triangle in the center. Here's her pink triangle. And maybe, and then if you look at her, she's got a little bit of white right on either side underneath the pink nose. A little bit of white there. And white around her eyes, I guess we had already put on. And then I just drew with a magic marker the eyes and her smile.
Okay, wow. And it really does come to life. When you go from this to right here, you can definitely see an expression and see the face of the animal and the personality of the animal.
And then we'd satin stitch, again, these are all kind of straight stitched around the edges.
Okay.
And then satin stitched over the top of that to hold it down. And then it looks very finished. It doesn't look like all these pieces layered on top of one another.
Wow. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back, I think, to your original picture.
Okay, then in the case of Daisy, I cut her out of the original fabric I had her on, and I made a background and plopped her down on the background and satin stitched her onto the background. I put her in a hammock here, but you could put her on anything, and I often make the background separately. And in fact, for a different quilt show, I put her in a hammock in a totally different background.
Yes. Do we have
And
access? Where's that
right
picture?
there.
Right there.
Oh, here it is.
And here she is with a flower in her hair, sipping a Mai Tai, lounging in Hawaii.
Yes. Isn't that sweet?
That's when you call Daisy's Day Off. right?
Daisy's Day Off. This was a Hoffman challenge where quilters were challenged to use these flowers in a quilt that represented a leisurely day in paradise. And I had all these daisies left from when I did the daisy workshop, the pet workshop, until I
Yes.
started using them up. I started putting them on because I had made a chart where I had each stage that you went through making a daisy. So I had 3 or 4 of them that were almost finished. So I finished them up and used them in various different quilts. So there's this one and the other one, and there's one on a pillow, and sent them off various different places.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, Val, tell us a little bit about you. So, I mean, we've got people like all over that is really fun. And remember to share as much as you can and things like that, because I am buying goodies for you guys from all the different quilt stores here in Hawaii, and something that's unique from their quilt store. And then when I get back to Utah, then we'll figure stuff out. But if you can, share the love. And we'll get some fun things, shipped out to you guys. We'll pick like 5 different people or something. But tell us about you, Val. So when did you start quilting?
I started quilting when we moved here to Kona, Hawaii, which was about 8 years ago. I had done some painting before that, but this is a very vibrant quilting community here. We have quite a few quilt shops, as you'll probably write on your blog. We have quite a few quilt teachers, 3 or 4 quilt shows a year.
Yes.
And very enthusiastic quilters.
Yeah.
And I had always wanted to quilt, so I went to the quilt store that I think you're also talking about, Quilt Passions, and
yes.
said, hey, I'd like to learn how to quilt. And one of the quilt teachers was there and said, hey, join my class. And so I did.
Good.
And learned how to quilt. And I've gotten better every year since I started.
Wow. And how many years ago was that?
It's about 8 years, I think.
8 years. So you guys, we are all capable of anything. And what was your profession or your education prior to that?
Oh, well, I was a psychologist for 20 odd years. I have a PhD in clinical psychology and worked in health maintenance organizations in New England until we moved to Hawaii in 2001.
Yeah. So isn't that wonderful how we can have such a healthy space and a healthy thing to do? And then what's beautiful is not only do you do these pet portraits for your own self, but you do them for your family members, and then you teach classes on this, and then people commission you, and you do all of these pet portraits and just spread all this joy.
Well, and probably I would say 2 out of every 3 quilts I donate to charity. My quilt guild is very active, and we do quilts for Children and Family Services and the Veterans Association, and I'm also active in Basset Hound Rescue across the United States and do 1 or 2 full-size bed Basset Hound quilts that I donate to the Basset Hound rescues that are then raffled or auctioned off.
Which is so fun, don't you think?
Yeah.
I just love it. I really do. And then with the skills that you built with the pet portraits, you're also doing some other commissioned work too, aren't you?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
so she's got different quilted wall hangings and that she'll work on. They're very, very interesting. You can actually see them on her website, and it's just fascinating what she's done and the different work that you've done. And this is all just 8 years of fun.
It is a lot
Hasn't
of fun.
It
is a lot of fun.
It really has been.
This one's fun. If I can show you that one.
Of course.
Someone wanted me to do the top of a quilt that they then planned to quilt themselves, and this was a retirement gift for a retiring pararescue person, and these are all the symbols from his pararescue unit. And the Jolly Green Giant refers to the helicopters that they flew, and so I made this. This is a lap-size quilt, and she was going to embroider her husband's name and his dates of service here when he retired.
Yeah. And what did these other things represent? It's just fun.
Well, these are their logos, and I'd be hard pressed to describe them actually, but the feet are marvelous. The feet. You notice they only have 4 toes, and the number of toes indicates what unit of the paratroopers they are.
Oh, that is so fun. It's really, really fun.
Yeah.
But yes, she just has a lot. You just really enjoy creating this type of art for other people.
I do, and I love it when people give me ideas.
Yes. Yeah, and then you work out of the box to make those ideas materialize.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So. And then you are working with inspiration that they give you to make those ideas happen through a quilt.
Absolutely.
So, you guys, isn't this so fascinating? I know I absolutely want to make a pet portrait of my dogs, Lady and Diego. They're Cavalier puppies. I don't know about you guys, if you guys have always wanted to do this, but it's just wonderful to see quilts that are made with such meaning. And I think that that's just the wonderful part of it all. Don't you think?
Oh, it's an awful lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now if you look on the internet, you'll see there are a lot of how to make pet portrait tutorials, but a lot of them are the kind of the Photoshop techniques, so this is a little different.
It is. Your
Yeah.
your method is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
unique, and your book goes through that you give to your to people that sign up for your class, which you're going to be teaching another class in February.
I am.
At Quilting on the Beach, which
Yes.
is a week long, right? Is it about a week long
Yep,
event
right.
that's here in February? And you can sign up for that. It's not completely published yet. She's finishing lining up all the rest of the teachers, but you can find that on the Quilt Passions website. And I will post lots of things about it too. But it's where people come and stay here for a week, and then we do different quilting classes and learn from each other.
Oh, and Karen, who runs Quilt Passions, it's our local quilt shop, plans a lot of fun activities, a shop hop all around the island where we have lots of different quilt stores, and a luau on the beach, and you're staying at a beachfront hotel, so there's swimming in Hawaii. It's a nice vacation.
Yeah, it is. It is. Corey and I are really looking forward to coming back. So, anyways, aren't you, Corey?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Do you guys have any questions at all or anything like that? You can also leave questions if you're not watching this live. Leave questions in the comments. And Val, do you go on Facebook or anything like that? And we'll get her on Facebook, okay? But I will respond to your questions, and so put questions down there, or let us know what your pets
I
are.
have an email address. I
Yes,
answer emails.
Yes, she answers emails, which is good.
VLB Zwick is my husband's last name, ZWICK @yahoo.com. I'll answer your email.
Yes. And I will get all of that information into the post and a blog post, but into the different social media posts that we're going to be putting out. So, well, Val, thank you for inviting me into your home.
Oh,
I
sure,
mean, it's
absolutely.
just such warmth, and I mean, it's just been so special to be here and to be here in her home here in Kona, Hawaii, and to see all of her stuff. We've been spending hours together, haven't we? Yeah, so we're just sharing a small segment, and it's been really a neat time. So, anyways, we love you guys, and we'll see you a little bit later, and thanks for stopping in and for sharing with us. And let us know any questions that you have or comments, and I will put you in the right directions of all the different things. So, love you. See you guys later.
Aloha.
Aloha.